Last night, the internet didn't just break, it ruptured like a fault line under the weight of a secret nobody was prepared to face. In a moment so chaotic, so spiritually shocking, so violently world-shifting, that even veteran gossip reporters froze mid-sentence, Chrisean Rock stepped into the darkness of an empty field, barefoot, trembling, wild-eyed, and declared a truth so unhinged that millions of viewers forgot to breathe. The world thought they had seen everything: fights, arrests, betrayals, meltdowns, broken relationships, broadcast live, but nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to what she proclaimed under that flickering livestream sky. Because, in the silence before dawn, with her voice shaking like she had touched something beyond human understanding, she announced that her son, little JR, is not just her child, not just a baby, not just a symbol of hope or chaos. She declared him the new Messiah, the one chosen to lead, the one destined to shift the world. And then, in a move so shocking it made the comments freeze on screen, she revealed the secret she's been hiding for weeks. A secret involving land, followers, rituals, and a foundation she claims was commanded by God himself. She whispered that the miracles will start soon. She warned that the unbelievers would regret doubting her. And then she vanished. But the footage, the whispers, and the leaks that followed turned one terrifying question into the biggest scandal in celebrity history. What has Chrisean Rock started, and why are people already gathering to follow her child? Nobody, and I mean nobody, thought Chrisean Rock would ever cross this line. Not after the bloody arguments on live, not after the hospital wristbands, not after Blueface, not after the cops at the door, not after the crying breakdowns that turned into memes. People thought they'd seen rock bottom. They did not understand that to Chrisean, rock bottom was just the runway. Because what happened on that field, on that shaky late-night livestream, was not just drama, it was a declaration, a spiritual takeover. A mother publicly deciding her child is not a child, but a savior. She went live with no glam team, no filters, no Zeus cameras following, just a phone, a hoodie hanging off one shoulder. Her feet sunk into the dirt like she was trying to plug herself straight into the earth. The wind was loud. The sky was almost black. You could hear her breathing before she even spoke. Hundreds of thousands of people poured into the live, then millions. Comments were racing so fast they turned into a blur. And still, every single person felt the moment the energy shifted. She looked straight into the camera with eyes that didn't blink. "Y'all think I'm crazy," she snapped. "Y'all think I'm lost, but God been talking to me." The chat exploded. Trolls laughed. Fans begged her to log off. Some people typed, "Not this again." Others whispered, "She looks different tonight." Then, without warning, she turned the phone and started walking, the camera whipping left and right, as if the world itself was spinning with her. Dirt, trees, fences broken in half, a half-finished shed leaning sideways like it wanted to escape. No houses, no neighbors, no streetlights, just land. Endless dark, echoing land. "I bought this," she said, her voice shaking with a mix of pride and something that sounded disturbingly like obsession. "Acres. This all mine. I ain't renting no more. I ain't running no more. We building here." The comments flew in. For what? For who? This a joke? That's when she said it. "This where my baby going to teach." Silence. Not on the live, people were still typing, but inside anyone with common sense. Because suddenly this wasn't about a home, a farm, or a fresh start. It was about followers. "This where they going to come," she whispered. "This where the chosen ones pull up. This where God going to use my son. Y'all don't even understand." She lifted the camera up toward the empty sky. "He ain't regular. JR. The new Messiah. Y'all laughing now. You won't be laughing when the miracles start." The internet snapped in half. People thought she was trolling for views. They thought she was drunk. They thought it was another meltdown she'd delete in the morning. But she didn't slur. She didn't giggle. She didn't backpedal. She doubled down. "My son, the new Jesus," she said calmly, like she was confirming a delivery order. "God told me. I heard him. I felt him. I seen it. I ain't asking y'all to believe nothing. I'm telling you what is." The live comments stalled, literally froze for a second, like the app itself choked. Then it erupted harder than before. People were begging her to stop. "You going too far. This disrespectful. This not okay. Girl, get help." But Chrisean wasn't reading the comments. She had turned the screen back to the land, spinning in circles, arms wide like she was giving a tour of an invisible kingdom. "You see how quiet it is?" she asked. "You hear that? That's God. No haters. No fake friends. No cameras that can cut me off. Just me. My baby. And the voice." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "He told me build a place for the believers. For the ones that can hear him. For the ones that know my baby ain't no regular kid." In that moment, the live stopped being entertainment and became evidence. Within hours, people were posting screen recordings from every angle. Twitter threads popped up with captions like, "Is Chrisean starting a cult?" TikTok stitched her words, replaying "JR the new Jesus" over ominous music. But the real explosion happened when someone leaked the property documents. It wasn't gossip anymore. It wasn't rumors. It was a receipt. 43 acres. Paid for in cash. Under her legal government name. Finalized last week. Screenshots of the deed hit every blog page. The seller, some regular dude who thought he was just unloading land, went live on Facebook absolutely stunned. "She told me it was for worship," he said, face creased with regret. "I thought she meant like a church, you know? A little country chapel, maybe a camp retreat. Now I get on my phone and see everybody talking about a baby Messiah. I ain't signed up for this." But the most disturbing part wasn't the land size or the cash payment. It was the tiny line on the paperwork that got circled in red and reposted 1,000 times. Declared purpose, spiritual development. That phrase sent shivers through timelines. Because spiritual development doesn't mean a single-family home. It doesn't mean a vacation ranch. It doesn't mean a studio or a podcast barn. It means gatherings. It means followers. It means structure for something bigger than a brand. And according to an insider who claims to have seen the messages Chrisean sent right after closing the deal, that's exactly what she had in mind. This insider dropped alleged screenshots of her texts in a close friends chat. In them, Chrisean wrote things like, "God gave me a mission. He said my son going to lead. I need a place where the chosen ones can live, not just visit." One of her friends replied, "Girl, that sound like a cult." And the response? "Then let it be one." That conversation alone would have been enough to make headlines. But it was only the beginning. Because not long after that live stream ended with Chrisean staring into the camera and warning, "Y'all will understand when the miracles start," she disappeared. No posts, no story, no random live from the car, nothing. Her main page went silent like someone cut the cord. And that's when the real fear started. Neighbors near the property, people who didn't care about Zeus or Blueface or trending topics, began noticing things. Cars creeping down the dirt road at weird hours, headlights shutting off before reaching the gate, flashlights moving across the land like wandering stars. A generator humming deep in the dark. Voices carrying over the trees. Not party noise. Not music. Not laughter. Chanting. Low, eerie chanting. And over it all, a woman's voice shouting instructions. One neighbor called a small local reporter. "I don't know who that girl is," she said, "but I heard her say a child is going to lead them. I lock my doors now. This ain't normal. This ain't cute. This ain't no fan club." Her quote barely made it onto a tiny news blog. But the next thing that happened turned that quiet rural rumor into the loudest, scariest headline on the internet. Because someone, somehow, got drone footage over those 43 acres. What that drone captured changed everything forever. The drone footage started like any ordinary aerial sweep trees, uneven dirt, patches of grass, but then the camera tilted, sank lower, and caught something no one was ready to see. In the dead center of the property was a massive symbol carved into the earth, not a circle made by tire tracks, not a random shape from weather erosion, but a deliberate design, lines intersecting like a compass pointing to nowhere, footprints surrounding it as if people had been walking the perimeter in formation. And at the center, perched like a crown on top of a growing nightmare, was a small wooden structure, freshly built, sloppily nailed, painted in a streaky white coat that looked rushed, uneven, frantic, and across the front, written in letters clearly painted by hand, were the words, "JR's House of Light." When the drone operator zoomed in, he caught something else: candles, dozens of them, wax melted into the dirt, symbols drawn around the structure, and a small wooden stool inside, positioned like a throne. The footage hit the internet like a meteor. People screamed. People cried. Some people froze. This not a fan shrine. This not a baby room. This is how cults start. But the most disturbing reaction came from a woman who used to be close to Chrisean, before the cameras, before the fame, before the chaos became her brand. She dropped screenshots so detailed, so damning, that even her old supporters couldn't defend her anymore. One message said, "I want a place where people can come pray with me." Another said, "My son will give people healing." And then the final message, "Only the chosen can enter." Her friend replied, "Chosen for what?" Chrisean answered, "To help raise the new Messiah." That single line sent shockwaves so deep fans felt like their stomachs flipped. She wasn't exaggerating during the livestream. She wasn't having a moment. She had been planning this, mapping it, rehearsing it, justifying it. Then another former friend leaked a voice memo. The recording was quiet, muffled, like it was made under a blanket. You could hear her pacing. You could hear the sound of her foot scraping the ground. And her voice, broken, frantic, trembling, whispered, "I keep getting dreams. I see him groan. I see crowds around him. I see miracles. They touch him and they healed. I see it. I see it every night." The friend responded gently. "You're stressed. That's all." Chrisean snapped. "No. These ain't dreams. These visions." The internet replayed those words over and over. These visions. Fans who once defended her said they felt sick listening. Past clips resurfaced of her quoting scripture mid-argument, saying God spoke to her, mentioning signs she saw in the sky. People started connecting dots from months ago. This wasn't sudden. This wasn't overnight. This was an evolution into obsession. But the twist, the darkest twist of that week, was that she wasn't doing this alone. A screenshot leaked that showed messages from a mysterious number. "Prepare the land. The child carries light. People will follow. Your role is to guide." At first, everyone thought it was a scammer or a fake psychic DMing her for clout. But then someone recognized the number. It was a spiritual influencer, a self-proclaimed prophet who had been on multiple reality shows performing deliverances, shouting messages at cast members, laying hands on people, while yelling that God was speaking through him. Clips resurfaced of him saying, "You are chosen. The light is upon you. There is a vessel coming." In episodes people once laughed at, but it wasn't funny now. Fans traced his number and confirmed he had been messaging her for months, encouraging her, feeding the flame, telling her her child had a divine purpose. He is the vessel. You are the guide. Prepare before summer. He wasn't just watching from afar. He was shaping the delusions step by step. And then another bomb dropped. He wasn't the only one. A second anonymous number had been sending nearly identical messages. Two voices. Same vocabulary, same pressure, same spiritual manipulation, same phrases Chrisean had been repeating publicly. She wasn't inventing the theology, she was repeating theirs, word for word. Then came the testimonies. A woman went viral saying, "He told me my son was chosen too." Another said, "He convinced me I had a divine calling but abandoned me when I didn't follow the plan." A third said he tried to get her to buy land for spiritual development. Suddenly, the pattern wasn't speculation, it was documented. People began begging, "Someone take that baby off that land. This man targeting vulnerable mothers. This is brainwashing." But before the police could even process the situation, the next leak detonated across every platform. Nighttime footage. Shaky, blurry, recorded from a neighbor's second-story window. It showed faint figures in a circle, lanterns on the ground, people standing with their arms raised. At the center of the group, a taller figure in a long coat, him. The spiritual influencer. He wasn't advising her online. He wasn't whispering guidance through text messages. He was physically there, leading them. And in the center of the ritual circle, positioned on the small wooden stool inside the House of Light, was something that made the world collectively gasp. A baby seat, a ceremonial platform, and JR sitting inside it. Not crying, not fussing. Just placed there, in the middle of a chanting circle at 3 a.m. While adults bowed toward him. People lost their minds. This is a cult. This is child endangerment. Get CPS involved. Even celebrities jumped in. A rapper posted, "This not spirituality. This manipulation." Another warned, "Once a leader says a child is divine, it gets dangerous real fast." Blueface, for once not trolling, wrote, "I'm dead serious. My kid better not be in no cult." That's it. The backlash didn't slow the group down. It fueled them. They believed the criticism was spiritual attack. They believed the world turning against them proved they were divine. And the leader used the attention as ammunition. Followers started bragging online that they felt the calling. People who knew nothing about Chrisean began showing up to the land, walking into the trees with backpacks and blankets. One woman, shaking during a TikTok live from her car, said, "I felt something in the circle. He really is chosen. You don't understand unless you were there." But the scariest moment arrived when an anonymous attendee leaked an initiation video. Adults stepping into a dirt circle, kneeling, placing their hands on the ground, repeating after the leader, "I give myself to the foundation. I follow the child of light." People cried, people trembled, people collapsed. And behind them, Chrisean swayed side to side, tears streaming down her face, whispering, "Thank you, God. Thank you, God." Then another clip leaked, the leader telling the crowd, "The awakening will happen soon. Prepare yourselves. Prepare the vessel." Fans zoomed in on his face. He was smiling. Calm. Confident. Like everything was already set in motion. And the final twist of this section hit when a woman from inside the circle leaked the message he sent to Chrisean an hour before the ritual began. "He is ready. They will see the miracle soon." No one knows what miracle he meant. No one knows what is coming. But everyone understands now. Something darker is unfolding on that land. And the man behind it believes the world isn't just watching. He believes the world is waiting. The preparations for the awakening didn't unfold quietly. They weren't done in secrecy. They were brazen, loud, frantic because the group was no longer hiding. They believed the prophecy was alive, pulsing, counting down. The land became a construction site of spiritual chaos. Followers hammered wooden posts into the dirt at dawn, whispers echoing through the trees. Others dragged stones into a perfect circle, sweating through the night under lantern light. Someone carved strange symbols on the shed door. Another painted phrases onto pieces of plywood and stuck them in the ground like commandments. One sign read, "Prepare the vessel." Another, "The foundation before the shift." Neighbors called the sheriff. They reported chanting that started as a low hum and grew into waves of sound. They heard drums, real drums, beaten in slow, ritualistic patterns. They heard crying. They heard laughter that didn't sound joyful but delirious. One neighbor said, "It feels like the air itself is different over there, like something's waking up." But the scariest change wasn't the noise or the symbols. It was the people arriving. Cars with faraway license plates lined the road in a crooked row. Texas, Colorado, Kentucky, Washington. People climbed out with backpacks, blankets, folding chairs, hands clasped like they were entering holy ground. They didn't ask for directions. They didn't look confused. They walked straight into the trees as if responding to a spiritual GPS only they could hear. A man who owned a nearby gas station said followers came in at odd hours buying water, flashlights, candles, and batteries. One whispered, "We can't be late." He said the circle must be complete. The gas station owner asked, "Circle for what?" The follower smiled in a way that made his skin crawl and said, "For the awakening." Then came the woman who escaped. Security footage showed her stumbling into the gas station at 4:17 a.m., barefoot, covered in dirt, shaking like she'd run through a nightmare. She kept looking over her shoulder, as if expecting someone to burst through the door. The clerk said she kept repeating, "I shouldn't have gone. I shouldn't have gone. They're preparing him. They're preparing the child." When the clerk tried to calm her down, she begged him, "Don't call them. Don't call anyone. They'll know." But he called the police anyway. A deputy arrived, took her into the back room, and the clerk said when the deputy came out, his face looked like someone had hit him with a ghost. He didn't say anything at first. He just stared ahead like he was replaying something he didn't know how to process. Hours later, pieces of the woman's statement leaked from a precinct employee who couldn't stomach what he had heard. She said the leader called the baby the vessel. She said he told them the vessel needed to be elevated spiritually before summer. She said he preached that the child was the anchor for a coming shift between worlds. She said the number 22 wasn't random, it represented the circle of commitment, the number of people required to spiritually protect the child during the awakening. She said they were preparing him inside the wooden house of light, not harming him, not starving him, but surrounding him with candles, chanting over him, treating him like a supernatural object instead of a human baby. She said, "They don't see him as a child anymore, they see him as something else." Those words spread across social media like poison. Panic swept across every platform, people screenshotting her quote. Professionals analyzing every line. Celebrities calling for intervention, fans crying on TikTok. But while the online world spiraled, the group only grew more intense. Drone operators flew over the land every few hours and reported new structures each time. A larger wooden stage, ropes tied around pillars, a cloth veil stretched across beams like a ceremonial covering, and hanging from the front of the structure, carved into a wooden plaque, the words, "Awakening Platform for the Vessel." Then another leak hit the internet. A second follower, one who fled earlier, came forward and said the leader told the group, "On the night of the awakening, the child will be elevated. Do not fear. This is necessary for the shift." Elevated. 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 People online tried to interpret the word. Some feared it meant literal lifting. Others believed it symbolized initiation. But nobody liked how he said, "Do not fear." But the most chilling detail came when the escaped follower revealed what he called the baby when Chrisean wasn't around. He didn't call him the vessel. He called him the anchor. He said the anchor would hold the portal open. That phrase broke the internet. Pastors went viral warning this was no longer fringe spirituality, but full-blown occult delusion territory. Psychologists said the manipulation was reaching catastrophic levels. Former cult members made videos saying this was the beginning of a ritualistic spiral. People begged the police to shut it down. But everything escalated too fast. The group didn't slow down. They prepared harder. They prepared louder. And then came the footage that stopped the world. Late one night, a neighbor noticed drums, heavy, slow, thunderous drums echoing across the land. He grabbed his phone and recorded from his window. The footage was dark, grainy, hard to see, but the audio captured everything: drums, chanting, voices rising and falling. Then the camera caught a glow between the trees. Fire. A bonfire so big the flames shot upward, like a signal to the sky. Silhouettes moved around it, dancing in rhythm, moving in a pattern. But the final seconds are what shattered every viewer. A tall figure walked onto the wooden platform. A long coat, a slow, confident stride. The spiritual influencer. And in his arms was something wrapped in a white cloth, small, still, cradled like a holy relic. Off camera, someone gasped. Someone screamed, "That's the baby!" The video cut off instantly. The world lost it. People demanded answers. Reporters surrounded the property line. Drones flew non-stop. Helicopters circled overhead. Hashtags trended every hour. Where is JR? Where is Chrisean? Stop the awakening. But the land stayed silent. No one emerged. No one denied anything. No one explained the footage. And Chrisean still hadn't been seen for 2 days. Some said she was inside the House of Light praying. Others said she had surrendered completely to the leader. A few whispered she was part of the ritual preparations. A new rumor claimed she had given up her phone, her socials, her privacy, her entire identity to become the mother of the vessel, a title followers were heard using on the land. Then everything escalated once more. The influencer went live. Standing in the middle of the field at night, bonfire flickering behind him, eyes burning with eerie calm. He stared into the camera and said, "You cannot stop what God has ordained. The vessel will rise. The shift will come. And soon, the world will understand." He smiled. A slow, chilling smile. Then the live ended. No explanation. No reassurance. No proof of the baby's safety. And now the world is stuck on one horrifying cliffhanger. The awakening ceremony is scheduled for days from now. 22 followers are already on the land. The platform is built. The fires are growing larger. Chrisean is missing. The baby was seen wrapped in white, and the leader is preparing something no one can stop, something he believes will change everything. What happens when the drums start again? When the flames rise? When the vessel is brought to the platform? And what exactly does elevation mean? The awakening is coming, and no one knows what they're about to witness. Before you click away, before you pretend this isn't haunting your mind, before you scroll like this isn't the most disturbing, unraveling, real-time catastrophe we have ever witnessed unfold across a celebrity timeline, stop. Because what happens next will not wait for you. The awakening ceremony is days away. The followers are already gathering. The platform is built. The fires are growing. And every hour we get new whispers, new leaks, new videos that make this story darker, stranger, more dangerous than anything the internet has processed before. Your engagement isn't just for the algorithm, it's for survival in the chaos of this narrative. When things escalate, and they will, you're going to want to be the first to know what really happened on that land. Who showed up at midnight? What was inside that white cloth? Where Chrisean went? And what the shift actually means. Silence is how these movements grow. Attention is what keeps the truth from being buried under superstition and manipulation. So hit like right now if you believe this story needs eyes on it. Hit like if you're even half as unsettled as the millions watching in real time. Drop your theories in the comments, because the next episode will follow the angle you push to the top, and subscribe immediately, because when the next leak drops, and trust me, it's coming, you do not want to hear it secondhand. Stay vigilant, stay loud, stay here. The awakening hasn't happened yet. And when it does, you're going to want front row access.